Hello everybody, I'm Sarabjit. My new video is about Startup Foundation. How the foundation is laid by an entrepreneur to build a startup based on an idea he has got. This program has 3 sections: Startup Foundation, how we set the early ball rolling, support and funding for the startup, and the formation stage team that is created consisting of various co-founders. So Startup Foundation first. A startup is an entrepreneurial team of co-founders with equity stake. Co-founders must have equity stake in the startup. So as Paul Graham, the co-founder of Y Combinator, says, being newly founded does not in itself make a company a startup. The essential thing is growth. Unless the company is designed for growth, it is not going to be considered to be a startup. It doesn't matter whether it is a technology startup or venture funding is there or you have an exit. The idea is that the company to be a startup essentially has to be designed for growth. Entrepreneurship is the pursuit of opportunity without regard to resources currently controlled. This is a great definition of what is entrepreneurship. Now, why startups? In startups, we start small, then we validate a minimum viable product, create the viable product into a final product for sale, then we go to market, and after that, we scale. Better and more logical model than starting big, isn't it? Now, top 5 success factors as given by Bill Gross in his TED speech are as shown. The most important thing is the timing. Timing means the market and how we enter it at the exact time where it will help us to grow at a good pace. Too early or too late to market will not work. So timing is everything. Next is the team behind the startup and how it executes the marketing program. The third most important thing is how the original idea has been built into an innovative, new conceptual thought idea that is out of the world, different from anything else that everybody else has thought of. It is totally new to the world. That is an outlier. And this is what leads to great startups being converted into high growth, exponential businesses. And then we have to have a good business model. Unless you have a good business model based on customer segment, very carefully selected, and then creating a value proposition to serve this customer segment, and then finally looking at various things that are going to be done in the business model canvas to make this whole thing work. It's very important to have a good business model based on value proposition design. And lastly, it is funding. Funding is not all that important, but everybody thinks it's funding that is important. But the thing is that you will get funding if your idea is good, very good, it's an outlier, and at the same time, you have produced a viable product that shows a good market. Then angel investors will come running to you. Now, what is success? In new startups, success consists of three different things. First, an outlier idea, then the timing to market, and then having a good plan and executing the plan with good tactics. This is what leads to success, and success means achieving the goal that we set ourselves to do. And the goal has to be set high, not a timid goal. Now, let us look at the various aspects of a startup. So here we have two different things which are connected. First, a marketing opportunity and the market timing. So the market opportunity can be big or small. Better big than small. We have to work on the idea and make it an outline in such a way that it caters to a universal market if possible. Something which is totally unique and will get us a good market. And then the timing has to be good. If it is too early or too late, we may not succeed, no matter how good our product is. Then there is growth ambition within us that, we will achieve this, we will do this, and this is what will happen. It all has to be innovative and with, our mind totally upon the customer and how we are going to satisfy the customer much better than anybody else. And this is what is going to lead to scalability. So the growth ambition has to be high and scalability too has to be good and high. And then the next two pair of things that we have is team commitment and team structure. Team commitment is necessary, and having a good team structure wherein the team coordinates with itself and covers all bases is what's required. So this is a great model to show what all is required to make a really good startup. And we have a program for this created by startupcommons.org. Now, support and funding. So this is where venture capitalists come in. But do venture capitalists come in at any stage, right in the beginning, or in the middle, or at the end? Let's see. Now, in our present video, we'll be talking about, the foundation of the startup. Foundation happens within the formation and validation stages, from -2 to the end of +2, where validation is completed and the product is marketed at the right time. After this, we have the growth stage. We will not be covering growth in this video, but we'll certainly take it up in another session. We will talk about, good timing to market, how to actually predict this, and then how we will do various things to get the startup moving quickly onto an exponential track. These days, post-COVID, exponential growth can be achieved within 2 years of going to market. Everything has speeded up post-COVID-19 due to high digitization and use of artificial intelligence of a very high level that has been reached. And this promotes high growth and exponential growth at that for really good products that add fantastic value of the type that the modern customer now wants. He wants something which was not available just 2 years ago. And if we can satisfy him in his current very high ambitions, we will succeed. Now, in the business idea to actual business, we build services, products, and businesses from -2, that is from having a crude idea, right up to the growth stage. And then we have the team and the team leading to the formation of a company. Now let's see what happens in this, because we are more concerned today with how we create the team and then create the company. So let's see what happens here. So in this area, from team to company, we start by building a team, imparting skills in this team to be able to work together with harmony and with full knowledge, and use innovative thinking and ideas and things like design thinking to solve problems, to be really innovative. We teach all these skills, and with these skills are included servant leadership and emotional intelligence to enable everybody to work in harmony and together and take leadership roles. Then team commitment, then creating the organization itself, and then having value culture, which the CEO, projects. And this is followed up by agreements. Agreements really are service level agreements between the co-founders, and then between the startup and its suppliers, and then agreements with people who join the startup, and also agreement between the founders and the startup advisor who is showing them how to create a startup. In the agreement between the founders and the startup advisor, the startup advisor say, this is what I offer and this is what I expect from you. And the founders say, within this agreement, this is what we expect and this is what we will do to help you achieve this. It's very clear right at the beginning what each is offering and what each has to do. We have a very comprehensive document for this kind of service level agreement, as well as for all other service agreements. All have been provided kindly by startupcommons.com, for whom I work as a startup advisor. Now, let's look at supporting startup development. On the left side, you see startup knowledge. Right from -2 stage when we get the idea, and up to, I would say, phase 0. That is the time when we have minimum viable product. In other words, we have completed the formation stage. So within the formation stage, what's happening is that we are just gathering knowledge and knowledge and knowledge, and building on this knowledge in various areas. And here you will see that most of the funding is internal. You get funding from public services, and funding maybe by your own family and friends, and some loans you may have taken from the bank. But surprisingly enough, no angel investor comes in here. They really do not know what you're doing or what you can offer. Very rarely, when some angel investors see that some prominent people have got together and formed a startup which has promised, they may invest. So what type of private investors invest at this stage? These are small investors who are taking a gamble. They say, okay, a startup is coming up, and they tell me that they are going to make something really good, and they explain to me how they are going to achieve something. Of course, it's all in the air, but okay, I'll take a gamble on them, and I'll invest some little amount of money. But the point to be taken here is that up to stage 0, practically no money is spent outside, excepting for what you may have to pay the startup advisor for his services. Otherwise, no money is spent. At the same time, if you work as a team within an accelerator, a good accelerator will tell you that you have to work full time on this project. I will only take on a team within the accelerator if they are working full time. I don't want part-time teams because part-time teams really do not succeed at startups. You have to give full attention. So you have to have living expense for about 7 months that it takes to go from -2 to +2. That is from the formation to the validation stage end. Okay. And most of the money that comes from angel investors, as you see on the right side, is where it shows private service providers and investors, comes in at level, some comes in at level 1, At level 1, you will probably get, I would say, maybe up to, if your idea is very good and the team is respected, about $100,000. And then by the time you go to market, then a lot of people will line up and you will get good funding. That's why you see this triangle, how it expands. And when you go, so the funding really comes in when you're into the growth stage, which is number 3. So at the end of 2, when you're into the market and entering the growth stage, this is where a lot of money will come in. And this is where the small investors have no part to play because they cannot compete with the big fish, the real angel investors. And that's the reason why they have contributed something to the startup when it is always already having, say, just a minimum viable product. Okay, but big investors will not, invest in a startup when it has just a minimum viable product, which is something which happens at the end of stage 2. These stages really are goals. I say that by the end of -2, I will achieve this. Then at the end of -1, this, at the end of 0, this. These stages are like goals. What we are going to achieve within this bubble, at the end of this bubble. At the end of -2, what I'll achieve, that is a goal for -2, for instance. Now, let us look at a concept stage team. Concept stage team means a team which is formed, I'll go back, at the end of, I would say, -1, okay, at max. So it really starts at -2 level sometimes. But by -1, you have this core founders team. So this is what we'll discuss here, concept stage team. So at the ideation stage, an entrepreneur has come up with a potential scalable product idea. Okay? It's just an idea in his mind. And he has some initial business models for how it would make money. That's all. So it is usually one person at a time. And maybe he says, okay, my friend will join me when I make a startup, something like that. But he's all alone and there's no real commitment confirmed. And no right balance in the team structure yet. And the valuation level of a startup at -2 level is 0. Now, at the concept stage, depending on, as I told you, the composition of the team and the idea of how it's developed, you could have a valuation up to $100,000. Okay, so here, what's happening is that we have some clear, meaningful targets, a direction of about 3 years with key milestones to get there. The milestones start from, they start say, okay, at 3 years, that is 36 months, we'll be here. Then they come backwards after 2 years, 24 months, 12 months, 6 months, 3 months. These are the goals which we have set ourselves to achieve. Now, how are they going to achieve these goals? So they tell you in reverse order. In 3 months, I'll do this, and achieve this. Then 6 months, I will do. These are the things, these are the steps which we'll go through and we'll be at this level, so on and so forth till you come to the end of third year. So you have a clear idea of what you want to do and a real actual good plan. You know, how we do it is that we ask you instead of having a strategy, you have a strategic intent within your own resources and capabilities. Resources also include, the knowledge of the co-founders, not just the money or anything else that you got. Within your own resources, what you can do within a time frame of 3 years, work on that. Don't say that this startup is going to become big by the end of 36 months because the government has a new scheme coming up. Or funding is being released by the World Bank and startups will get this much money. Nothing vague like that. It should be, startup has to be dependent only on your own resources. And we have what we call a strategic intent, not a total strategy to achieve this. Mind you, strategic intent means doing what is within your control, within your own resources. Now, at the concept stage, we have a team of 2, and if you're lucky, maybe a team of 3 core people working right from the beginning. You have got this idea, and now you want to pitch and say, enter a stage accelerator as a team. Stage accelerator doesn't accept single people with startups. They want you to come with somebody else as a co-founder. Only minimum 2, 3, 4, 5, great, but minimum 2. And I'll tell you in the next video why 2, what they'll do. Okay. Of course, the main person is the CEO, Chief Executive Officer. And then he has another person. Yes. Hold your horses. I'll tell you in the next video who is the next person who's vital for a startup. Okay. So then if it's a big project coming up, you may have even additional teams with lighter commitments. It depends on, who all are getting together to create this startup. Commitment is a very important thing. So we are, having skills, and we are committed to use a balanced set of these skills to work with. And core co-founding team with 2 or 3 members are committed. Okay, I will work throughout from -2 to say end of final product creation and up and going to market stage. I will not leave the startup. He has signed a service level agreement to that effect. He's committed. All core co-founding team members have to be committed. Otherwise, if somebody leaves in between, the startup may just collapse. The commitment is very important. And you have had the ability or have been able to develop a product, and you have some initial ideas about how this can be further developed into a minimum viable product. Okay. And as I said, this shareholder agreements, SLAs, are very important and the right thing to do. And you are committed to milestones and timing and money usage, etc., which can even go into this shareholders service level agreement. Okay. Then founding team commitments for minimum 3 years with vesting. How are they going to actually spend their time and what's in it? So the whole thing has to be committed. Commitment is the key. Without commitment, no startup is going to last long. It's not an easy job, very difficult thing. Startup is much, much more difficult to make than to join a running company and run some department in it. Because startup, everything is new. Nobody knows really what's happening. And you want to create something new to the world. Nobody knows what it is. And you have to create in such a way that it delivers the best possible value to the end customer. And there has to be so much innovation going into it at each and every single level and each and every single step. Now, I said that the main person in the startup is the CEO. Okay. And the focus of the CEO is on transformation. After COVID-19, when the developments in digitization and artificial intelligence have been so fast, and we are already actually as developed as we would have normally been by end of 2025 if the pandemic had not occurred, things are totally different. And you need a special type of CEO to run business in such a time. Even for normal brick and mortar companies, you now need an agile servant leader who will take them into a transformation and create a new business altogether. More so in a startup. So the CEO, who apparently is the person who came up with the idea, I assume, unless he says that, okay, his friend is more knowledgeable, I'll make him the CEO. I will work as something else, but I am also the co-founder. So whoever is the CEO has to be an agile servant leader. Okay. This agile servant leader makes the ideal startup CEO. We will teach you how to become an agile servant leadership. Just remember, leadership is not inborn. Every single type of leadership is learned. And we will teach you how to become an agile servant leader. We have a full program for this. And without creating agile servant leadership qualities and agile servant leadership abilities to work in all the co-founders, we will not be satisfied. Because ultimately, when each co-founder is leading his own area, he has to lead a team. And to help them build something in half the time, they have to be agile servant leaders. Otherwise, they'll take a long time and they may not keep the team cohesive and together unless they are agile servant leaders. So what do these agile servant leaders do? Okay, an agile servant leader as a CEO lives to serve others and is admired and trusted. That's the type of person he is. So when I look through all the figures on Microsoft 365, I like this person. He looks like an agile servant leader, so empathic. He's got a lot of empathy. They have to have empathy. They have to put themselves in the other person's shoes and say, oh my God, I must help him. I must help him. I am he. If he doesn't succeed, I don't succeed. So he lives to serve others and is admired and trusted. Then he promotes a sense of community. All the people working within the startup are like a close-knit community simply because the agile servant leader has brought them together and made them into a community. He's just one of them. They won't even recognize him as a leader. They'll think he's one of them, and he's one of them. He wants to serve them. He doesn't want to lead them like a dictator. He wants to serve them. And agile servant leader actively encourages shared decision making. He's happiest when everybody's sitting together, talking in a civilized manner and coming to the right decision. No arguing, no saying, no, this can't be done. No, this, no, that. Yes, we'll do it. We'll do it. It's all going to be within the culture and value system which the agile servant leader is going to bring into the system. And we will also be teaching emotional intelligence, which enables everybody to understand himself and to be able to communicate and understand with other people. IQ is not something which works. It is intelligence quotient, which is the outcome of emotional intelligence. When you become emotionally intelligent, you learn how to deal with other people and keep developing high intelligence quotient. And it is a high intelligence quotient which helps you succeed. So everybody in the startup who's there from -2 to 2 level, we will teach him. We will teach him, her, everything that's to do with this business, okay, of decision making using agile teamwork, agile leadership. And the CEO ably leads an agile team of other co-founders and gets work done in half the time. And with their teams also, they will work as agile leaders and get work done in half the time, or even less. Now, last, let's see, what leadership was like pre-COVID and why we need the new type of leadership post-COVID-19. So I have to put them in a simple system. So in pre-COVID-19 normal, we were leading in a predictable business environment. And we means the leader, he dealt reactively when faced with uncertainty. Okay? There was no proactiveness. Today we have to be proactive. We cannot be reactive. Why we have to be proactive? Because every day we are going to face new situations. And unless we know how to overcome these in advance, there'll be no time to correct these before the next crisis steps in. So we have to be proactive now. Let's see what I put on this side. So the new leader lives to serve the cause, encourages shared decision making. This is what I said earlier. Then deals with the new normal through agile cross-functional teams. So instead of dealing reactively, what the new transformational leader who is an agile servant leader does is that he works with the teams to deal with the situation in a what I would say in a proactive manner. So gentlemen, ladies, friends, thank you very much for being here with us. Please give us your feedback. A startup sandbox is a step-by-step approach to creating the future. And we want you to be a part of this future with us. Thank you very much.